Hi everyone. Let's be honest, sumo wrestlers haven't exactly set the world on fire when it comes to video games. Sure, Honda held his own in Street Fighter, and yeah, Virtual Fighter had Taka, but who really remembers him? Somehow, back in 1993, Sega looked at this sorry track record and thought, you know what the world needs? A sumo wrestling game, based on an anime nobody outside Japan even knows exists. That game is Aa Harimanada, and today we're diving into one of the weirdest, most Japan-only fighters the Sega Genesis ever got. So here's the backstory. Aa Harimanada started as a manga back in '91, written by Kei Sadayasu, who had a nice run in Kodansha's weekly morning magazine. The anime followed in 1992 with 23 episodes about a masked, rebellious Yokozuna who busts into the sumo world, promises to smash a legendary 69-match winning streak, and claims he'll retire on the spot if he ever loses. Wild stuff, even for the Japan standards. So you can imagine the sumo old guard wasn't exactly clapping from the sidelines when they heard this. And because this is early 1990s Japan, the anime got turned into a video game. And not just one. There were versions for the Game Gear and Game Boy too, all hitting Japan in the summer of '93. But we're focusing on the Genesis port, since that's the one anyone actually talks about, whether for its quirks or its flaws. Now, here's where things get odd. The game feels like someone played Street Fighter 2 and thought, this needs more giant men and less logic. So you get 15 hulking rikishi throwing fire palms, leaping absurd heights, and generally breaking every rule of real sumo. A sport that usually comes down to balance, careful footwork, and pushing, not Hadokens. It's utterly ridiculous and honestly pretty entertaining for the first few minutes. That chaotic energy doesn't turn into great gameplay. Critics back then pointed out some glaring problems, like your wrestler's weight barely affects anything except how high you can jump, grapples feel mostly random, and most of the 15 fighters play exactly the same, minus some visual tweaks. Pick whoever you want, strategy-wise it hardly matters. On the graphics side, it's a mixed bag. The character portraits look good standing still, but once the action starts, animations tank down to a few choppy frames, and the crowd in the background just sits there, frozen. Maybe they're bored, maybe they saw this train wreck coming. But hey, the soundtrack is actually a highlight. The composers also worked on Shinobi 3, so the chiptunes go harder than the rest of the game deserves. So what's left is a weird little time capsule. It's unique, but never polished or deep enough to rise above interest and curiosity. It's not a sumo simulator, it's barely a good fighter. Reviewers shredded it back in the day, and with scores as low as 2 out of 10, you're not looking at a classic here. But if you collect strange Genesis imports, or you just want to see giant sumo wrestlers launching fireballs for the honor of the sport, give it a spin. Just don't expect to dump Street Fighter 2 for this. There you have it, one of Sega's most obscure and bizarre experiments. If you've actually played it, I want to hear about it. Otherwise, catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.